right, welcome back. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominio Television. Yes, our analyst talking about Mr. Gboyega Adejumo is actually standing by and he will be joining us via Zoom this morning. Mr. Gboyega Adejumo, are you there? Good morning.
And how are you today?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. How are you too?
We are still here. Nigeria has happened to all of us, but we will survive.
We will survive with the new political party that we have, ADC.
A new political party, the one with the con?
I'm only thinking that that's our messiah for now. Or what do you think?
Really, I should think that we shouldn't be deceived if the party they want to unseat has a con as their own logo, the way of introducing themselves, and the new one too has the con. Agbado, it is more or less like con for con. You can just remove the R. And then it becomes the con proper. I shouldn't think that it is ingenious for anyone to come up with a new party and then their emblem, their logo, their way of introducing themselves is yet another piece of con. It's not ingenious.
All right, let's start with this from the Punch newspaper. We're seeing 2027 crossfire. APC strikes back after Mark Lamido slammed Tinubu government. With so much riders there, but the riders are not too clear. What do you have to say concerning that?
I should think again that those of us who were alive at that period in time, that we all refer to as June 12. It was actually June 12, 1993. I was at the June 12 celebration this year at Biola's house, representing the Patriots group. I've always attended. It's either that Oke Odumake is marking or Reonokakamfo is marking. I've always been involved in all the celebration. But this year, because I'm the chair of the committee that is vested with the task of getting the zones together. So I happen to chair the Southwest Zone so that we can have a conversation. We're going to have a summit in Abuja on the 15th. So I had to be there and I gave a speech. And it's all about, well, awareness. We are talking of an event that happened, how many years ago? 32 years ago?
Yeah.
And again, if we're thinking of those who are eligible to vote, you have to have been 18. So if you're not 50 years old today, you may not really understand what went down with June 12. Why am I saying all of this? Simple. There was a Sule Lamido that was the secretary of the SDP, and together with Aneni, his chairman, they signed away the victory of June 12. They capitulated and promptly supported Abacha. So why would I want to take Sule Lamido seriously? Why should I take him so serious? This was the man that during the second incarnation of President Obasanjo as a civilian president, he was there. And he ended up picking a fight with President Obasanjo. He's always been picking fights with mostly presidents from the South. So that is Sule Lamido for you. I don't know who he would want to address his diatribe to. I don't want to be insulted. That is not my style. But it is pure pontification to come and tell us about June 12 without talking about his own role as someone who betrayed the spirit of June 12.
All right.
And anything he's been saying since then has not exactly reflected anything different from that person who threw away that mandate as the secretary of the party in 1993.
All right, still talking about the headline there, that is the 2027 crossfire as APC strikes. What is the basis of APC's confidence in defeating the opposition coalition in 2027 elections?
Well, First things first, I'm not a fan of Mr. President. I can never be. I have granted enough interview to go around the 365 days for everybody to know that I'm not a fan of Mr. President. And neither am I hilarious or jumping for joy based on his policies. I don't think his policies are great. But I would query anyone who would want to say to this administration that in 2 years, you haven't solved the problem of insecurity. I mean, I want to pick holes on his economic policies as well as certain policies, but I'll give it to him on what he has done with the tax. It's something that we have been begging for. As the publicity secretary of the Yoruba Summit Group, I once wrote about monkey the chop, monkey the walk, baboon the chop. And I've written several times about what is wrong with the security apparatus. And I will fault him slightly on even that, but I will not on 2 years begin to join the crowd of those who would say that, well, he has not taken care of the insecurity in the north. These same people didn't say one word when Buhari was there for 8 years, and he practically messed up the security. Mind you, when Jonathan was there, he did something which people will not give him credit for, but some of us will realize that he did clear the Boko Haram menace, and there was here Jerika, the army general or the army chief of staff, who actually went to battle with these people and cleared them off the map of Nigeria. As at the time we had the election of 2015, the Boko Haram were already scampering away from Nigeria and had established cells in other West African countries. But during Buhari, they came back. They came back stronger even than before.
Okay, hello, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so for all that the new party want to say to the APC, I would rather they address us Nigerians. I would rather they say to us, we have a problem with the 1999 Constitution, and we are ready to throw it away. We are ready to bring about a people's constitution. I would rather they say to us that the system is bad, not just the structure. That even if you have the best of intentions, even at Awolowo, if you were to have all of that which God gave to him, but in this particular dispensation, there's no way we can say that the system will throw him off, because where are the billions? Awolowo was not that wealthy person. He was a very comfortable man. Yes, he was a lawyer. God gave him, the wherewithal to be able to amass all the wealth, but he didn't.
All right.
So why would Awolowo have emerged if he were to leave at this time? And humanity would have suffered for it. So we cannot continue with this system. We have to go back to the parliamentary system. So is the new party telling us that? And in tackling security, are they saying that we're going to have state police, local government police, and perhaps even regional militia? So they have not told us anything. All they want is just to clear the ruling party away. That is not enough. That is never going to be enough.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's look at it. You're talking about is that you're not a fan of Mr. President, and you're talking about security issues and economic woes being faced in the country. Do you see this coalition party, ADC, coming up with a big, what's it called, a big way to address the current economic and security challenges being faced in the country?
Well, the truth is that there's too much of wastages. NNPC is a cesspool of corruption and crass, unbridled.
Mr. Gboyega, do you...
Particularly sickening cesspool of corruption and wastages. That is the NNPC. We need to focus seriously on what governance has become in Nigeria, a country of assuming that we are actually like 240 million people, and then we have close to 50 ministers. What are we doing with 50 ministers? China, with 1.3 billion people, they only have 25 ministers. America, with their 340 million population, they only have 15 ministers. What are we doing with 50? Why are we creating all these new parastatals when the Obasanjo report actually said we don't need more than 180 from the almighty 460? And this president actually told us when he came on board that he was going to go by the Obasanjo report, which he has not. Rather, he has added more to the MDAs. So we have a problem with wastage. We have a problem with duplication. It's more or less like job for the boys. It's more or less like Mr. President is just rewarding his people and creating this avenue of using politics to perhaps shut up opposition. And who is actually the loser? And it's Nigeria, because it's our resources, our meager resources, that is pouring into the engagement of all manners of individuals, whether they are qualified or not, that are in his government. So that is one area I find particularly wrong. Another one is the devaluation of the naira. Everybody knows that once they tell you to start devaluation, you never stop.
All right.
The moment Babangida did that in 1986, we've never stopped. Before then, we never devalued Nigeria. From 1960 to 1986, we never devalued the naira.
All right, so
and it was Professor Malukobo who said whoever devalues the currency of his country is a traitor.
All right, Mr. Gboyega, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. I want you to wrap up your thoughts on that so that we can move on to next headline. Yeah.
You want to what? Sorry,
I want you to wrap up. I want you to wrap up on your thoughts concerning that headline that I just told you, and of course, let's delve into another headline from The Guardian.
Well, I've mentioned something about the security situation that we want to have established security architecture that will include a local government type police. That's like we have in many places in the world, which is called county police in America, for example. We want to have even state police, like the LAPD, like the NYPD and the rest. But again, even in America, they have city police. For every city, they have their own police, apart from the state, apart from the county. But then again, most states in America do have militia, which is like the military. So we want to have all of that. We of the Southwest, that is part of what we are going to say to the federal on the 15th of July, that we want a militia for the whole of the Southwest.
All right, Doctor, away from that.
If there's anything you want to remind me of on
Okay. Doctor, let's head straight to The Guardian. We have this one, 2027, Northern PDP leaders set to own ADC as preferred coalition. Doctor, what about zoning?
Zoning, it is perhaps that terminology that creates the problem.
Because if Northerners...
What I want to believe is that...
Go on,
Sorry,
go on.
Are you saying something?
Yes, I won't say something. That's what happens.
When you see the term zoning creates a lot of issues. It is looking like, oh, we want to condescend. We want to simply accept a certain arrangement. But in the real sense of it, it is about justice. It is about equity. It is about liberty. It is about equality. And it is about opportunity. There must be a way of balancing. If a zone, or let's say a part of the country, in 1914, both the northern and the southern protectorates were amalgamated. And if the north has spent 8 years, it only comes to equity. And he who comes to equity must come with clean hands, that the South must have their own 8 years. And if that was respected, with Buhari? Why is it not being respected for Tinubu? Like I said, I'm not a fan of Mr. President, but on that dignifying stance of a principled approach to management, what is good for the goose is good for the gander. If the North had their eight good years, so why are we not going to have 8 years of a Southern president? The same thing that happened to Obasanjo in 2003 is what is happening to Tinubu now. In 2003, the same North, it didn't matter which party, started to raise people. Even at that time, Obasanjo's party, the PDP, they almost did not even want him to contest. I remember that the chair of the party was even telling him, don't come to Eagle Square, you'll be disgraced. So it's not a new thing. It's something that we know that a particular part of the country will never, ever agree to a gentleman's agreement, will never, ever want to pander to what exactly should be the norm. If you spend 8 years, if the 8 years of the North is sacrosanct, then it should be sacrosanct from the South, for the South as well. So it is back to this idea of those who have a sense of entitlement, never wanting to even spare even 2 years, let alone 4 years, for a Southern president. And worst case is when even the Southern president is a Christian. So again, it's something that some of us, we've come across a few times, and we're not comfortable with the idea of some people having that sense of entitlement. That is the reason why we have to call for the question, the Nigerian question, to be fully addressed, to know whether this union is union of equals, or some people are meant to be subservient to another set of people.
All right, let's flip to the economic side now. Marketers snub Dangote's price cuts to retain high costs, fuel costs. Why is that so?
Well, it's again about the wastage. All we want is fuel. We want fuel, and we want it in large quantities. Nigerians have been sold a lie for too long. There was a time President Umaru sold the 2 refineries, the major refineries, one in Kaduna and the one in Warri. And, well, Yar'Adua came out and reversed it. And to tell you the truth, I'm not so sure that I will ever forgive Yar'Adua for that, because those were moribund things. Today, we've spent trillions of dollars ever since then to fix these refineries that at best only worked for 2 or 3 months.
But there was a time. There was a time where being.
Hold on, please. Okay. I'm just building a case.
Okay.
Now, if you put all of our refineries together, all the refineries Nigerians have, the 2 in Warri, the 2 in
Port Harcourt. Hello, are you still?
PMS, they will not give you anything close to 600,000 barrels per day. And that is exactly the point. All of them put together, they cannot produce what Dangote's refinery, one refinery, the Dangote refinery is given the whole of the country. So even if all your refineries are working, all of them, they cannot match the production of Dangote. And if you look at what we consume per day in Nigeria, Dangote can service Nigeria and service 4 other countries in Africa. So the point is, why are we still importing petrol? And let me tell you something. When the idea of looking for a way to balance and come to a position of pitching the local market with the government rate, I thought, okay, fine. By the time we do away with importation of petroleum products, then the demand on the dollar would go down by at least half, and naturally Naira would appreciate and dollar will fall. But it has not happened that way. Why? Because this government still allows certain people to still import petrol when we have Dangote. And what does Dangote do? When he realizes that it's about competition and he's a businessman, what does he do? He will lower his price. I'm actually waiting for that day. He's going to lower his price that those who import the petroleum product will go back and begin to count their losses. That is the truth. We don't need to import. The strain on the naira, look, there was a time that it was calculated that we need about $500 million dollars per day. That is to run Nigeria for every import that we do. But even on that 500 million, petroleum products alone was about $350 million per day. So even if you took that away, then there will be less pressure on the naira. And then normally it will improve. But if the government still allows people to import petrol, I don't know what we are doing. We have Dangote who is even exporting to other countries.
All right, because of our time, Dr. Gboyega Adejumo, you are a member of Afenifere under Pa Ayo Adebanjo. From your thoughts this morning, you've been talking about Oronsaye report and you did not mention confab. In your own opinion, which of these reports should we adopt? Because you're talking about we reviewing our 1999 constitution. So I'm asking, in your own opinion, which of those reports should we adopt, Oronsaye or confab?
Oronsaye or which one again?
Or confab reports. I mean, confab.
Both of them serve different purposes. Oronsaye report is about governance, is about having to look at the wastages and how to curb them, how to reduce the number of parastatals, how to reduce the number of ministries, and how to cut wastages. That is what Oronsaye report is all about. It's about governance. But the confab is about the polity, is about the quality of the methodology that we are going to have to consider to make Nigeria, so that everybody can have a sense of belonging. But before I even go further, let me say this. I'm an Aoist. First and foremost, and I'm an Aoist. The spirit of Afenifere lives in me. But sometime last year, while I was still the publicity secretary of the Afenifere, I signified my intention to the late Papa Adebanjo that I would like to, suspend my membership for a number of reasons. But still, I'm an Aoist. I may have left physically, but I'm still in spirit an Afenifere. And on that, I will tell you that there can never be two Afenifere. Even when we had the AG uprising of 1962, in fact, one of the last things I did with the late Papa Adebanjo was when we went to Jos to commiserate with the people last year, when there was so much killing on the plateau, I made sure that the driver took us to Hill Station Hotel where it all happened in 1962, and Papa Adebanjo was a witness. And the fact is,
Doctor,
even after that 1962 uprising, Afenifere still remained one. Those who fell out, like Roshiji and the rest of it, and Akinloye, they fell out. And again, anytime that happens, that people don't go with the principled ideological stance of Afenifere, and they fall out, but the Afenifere will always win. So those who fell out, when the likes of Jakonde Babatope fell out, those who fell out even in 2003, Tinubu and the rest, and those who fell out again in 2023, you know them.
All right, Doctor. We have less than
those who fell out. Then they fell out. So
we have less than 1 minute.
Papa Adebanjo, the leader of Afenifere now is Kabiyesi Oba Olaitan. So that is it.
All right.
If anyone falls out, they fall out, and that's it. Afenifere continues.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. We appreciate your thought on that. Okay, now let's look at it. Obi is actually fuming. Should I use that word? It flies at the highest honor, Knight Commander title on Tinubu. Let me just ask this. What is the criteria for that title?
Are you saying what the one that happened at St. Lucia?
Yes, St. Lucia.
Oh, okay. It's a very simple matter. Knights are made perhaps from what you can call the secular as well as the sacred. In the sacred, in the Anglican Church, we don't really have knighthood, but in the Catholic Church, there is of course the knighthood. We had in our own fold too. We had Sir Laniho Ajayi, and there are quite a few Sirs, and in the British Empire of those days and their colonies, they had the ones with the KBE, who are knighted as well, and that is, let's say, in the sacred. In the secular, if you're a member of the Illuminati, you are knighted as well. There are certain traditional groups like the Ogboni too, you are knighted. Like the Lodge, you are knighted. The Rosicrucians, you are knighted. So, do we actually know the kind of knighthood that was bestowed upon the president? We only saw this image of, well, a sword placed on his shoulder. Is it even the knighthood of the Illuminati? We don't know. But how do you leave your own country? How do we leave your own country and travel over the seas and arrive at a small island that is in size about 180,000 people? In fact, the smallest local government in Ibadan has more population, local government in Ibadan, I'm not even talking about your state, has more population than St. Lucia. What is 183,000 people? And then you go all the way, and you're supposed to be the leader, or perhaps Nigeria at one time at least was the leading nation or country in Africa. And then you go all that far to be
Hello, doctor, are you there? Doctor, are you there? No. All right, we'll be joined by doctor very soon. But then, let's actually look at it. He's actually talking about the main OB flaying up that the honor being bestowed upon president. That's talking about Mr. Tinubu. That's ninth commander title on him. He fled up, and that's what exactly Dr. Gboyega Adejumo is sharing his thoughts on that. But then we'll be waiting for him till when he returns. We'll continue from that. But remember that you can follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn at Dominion Broadcast, and on X at Dominion Cast. Of course, you can listen, watch, and interact with us on www.dominion.org.ng. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television. Well, there are lots here. He had said a lot, and we have this. I mean, that's the one coming from the front. He's talking about marketers snubs Dangote price cuts. That's really shocked me, because if you were saying you want to make our economy stable, and you gave some people license to still refine our petrol in dollars. What are you doing? These are the corruption we are talking about. These are the corruption we want you to fight, and not just making us to live like a pauper in our own country. For some people, they cannot even fit 101. Some people will still like 101. That's how they eat in the morning and not in the afternoon. Well, I think a lot still needs to be done. We appreciate Dr. Gboyega Adejumo. He is a public affairs analyst and a member of Afenifere under Pa Ayo Adebanjo, late Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Well, that's much we can take on newspaper analysis this morning. We appreciate you so much for being part of the show. Coming up next is Big Story. Stay with us. It's still Daybreak Live on Dominion Television.